Good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Monday, everyone. We are so excited to be here again on the Woman to Woman show on the New You Nation Network. Tonight we have a guest that we are so excited to have. Miss Flora is here with us, and she is going to be sharing with us about breast cancer awareness, her journey, what she does now to support and help others on that journey. And so we're going to get started tonight by doing what we normally do. We're going to introduce ourselves and say what we are grateful for. So I am Theodora Carter. I am a certified life and career coach. I am also a certified HR consultant. That is my profession, but I also now provide services for small businesses that are not in need of a full-time HR department. And I am here tonight grateful for yet another day to just breathe, but I'm also grateful that they rescheduled my jury duty.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go on Tuesday tomorrow, and I forget. And so I was very happy to see that they sent me a letter to say I didn't show up because I guess I didn't call in. But anyway, I am grateful for that. And I'm going to pass the baton to Sheila so she can introduce herself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sheila Isom. I am an insurance professional, and on the side, I am a notary public, and I am also an independent consultant for Color Street, and it's a company where we sell nail polish strips. And today, I am grateful for eye-opening experiences, because those experiences will tell you or sometimes force you to move in a certain direction.
All right now. Miss Flora.
Yes, my name is Flora Ghostin, a retired registered nurse, CPR instructor. I am the health coordinator at our church, Walker Memorial Baptist Church. And I am grateful for another day and grateful that my health is good and I survived cancer.
Nice.
Amen.
We are grateful for that too. Amen.
Yeah.
So tonight, ladies and gentlemen who are joining us, we have the privilege of having Miss Flora here to share with us a little bit about her journey, but also the awesome work she does to help others that are either going through it now or who are survivors. So, Miss Flora, do you want to start by just telling us a little bit about your story? How long have you been cancer-free?
35 years as of this year.
Oh,
all right.
35 years, thank God. 35 years, and did the breast cancer walk yesterday.
Okay. How was it? Was the weather good?
Oh, the weather was cold in the beginning, but it heated up. It heated up some. Regina was there also. She walked with us.
Okay,
So
nice.
it was a wonderful occasion. The borough president and different people were there to speak, and we met a lot of nice people. We fellowshiped with a lot of different people, so it was very nice. Very nice.
How many people walk with you? Do you have a team?
Yes, my group is called Walkers for Christ. It was about 10 of us. But
Nice.
10 plus, 10 plus was there yesterday. We usually get more than that. Some people come and go. Some came early, some came later on, but it was a nice group.
Okay. Did you walk in the Bronx? Like, because I know they
Yes.
used to do it at Orchard Beach, right?
Well, we usually are at Orchard Beach, but for the last 2 years we've been at Bay Plaza in Co-op City because they are still working and doing construction at Orchard Beach. They told us maybe by 2025 we'll be back at Orchard Beach.
Oh, nice. So tell us a little bit about your journey. When you were diagnosed, okay.
Well, and I was diagnosed. Well, let me start over again. 1989, I went to my doctor for my annual physical, as I always do. And he did the physical, did the self-breast exam, and said I was in great health. He wished more of his patients was like me, energetic, active, and all this sort of stuff. So usually that following week, I usually do self-breast exams. I would advise everybody to do self-breast exams because it's very important. And I did my self-breast exam, and I felt a lump in my left breast. I felt something funny in my left breast. And then I went called the doctor to make another appointment to go in to find out what was going on. And then he did a mammogram and did another test and stuff. He said, "Oh yeah, there's something there, but I'm not certain what it is. So we may have to do a biopsy to find out whether it's malignant or benign or whatever." But I still went to get a second opinion as always, and they gave me the same thing. So get the biopsy and see what's what. So I did get the biopsy, and it was malignant. And they gave me different options whether I could have I could have a mastectomy or I can have a lumpectomy or whatever I wanted to have done was up to me. So I did a lot of research and different little things, especially being a nurse. You can research yourself and find out what's happening, what you want to have done, and whatever. But the doctor was grateful that I did do my self-breast exams because she was saying that sometimes they do miss things, and sometimes that does happen. So
how often were you doing your breast self exams?
I still do self-breast exams even now, but I do it like twice a month.
Okay.
Usually after my period, but when I was having my period, I usually do it during that time. I usually do it before and afterwards, so that would be twice a month. I would do self-breast exams. You do when I was standing up in the shower or whatever. So it's very important. And I did do that, and thank God I did do it. And I opted for it was left breast mastectomy. I had that. I had reconstruction surgery, and went through a lot of turmoil and pain and different little things like that. But with God and assistance and family and friends, I was able to get through the difficulties and different things that went on. I had to be monitored for at least 5 to 6 years yearly. I didn't have to have the chemo or radiation or anything like that, but they monitored me for the 5 years to make sure things was going well, so they would be able to start me on medication if I needed to be on medication.
Mm-hmm.
And after the 5 years, then they said I was cancer free, and that's when I became a volunteer for the American Cancer Society. I started working with them, and I became one of their advocates. And I worked in the cancer department at Montefiore Hospital. Was a volunteer there, working with the cancer patients, talking with them. In the beginning, it was sort of hectic. They didn't want to talk to you about anything, even though you may have had cancer and stuff like that. But I guess they had to get to know you.
Mm-hmm.
And once they got to know me and we began to talk and stuff, and I began to let them know about my story and what was going on with me. So they began to be more at ease and then began to talk with me and let me know what was happening with them and how I could be of service with them and stuff like that. So it became easier to work with them. And a lot of them came with me to walk for the breast cancer.
Oh, nice. So you didn't need chemo or radiation. Was that because it was detected earlier, or?
Well, I think because it was detected earlier, and then they removed the lymph nodes to make sure nothing else would happen in between time. And as they were checking me every year, they were saying that I didn't need the chemo and I didn't need the radiation for the time being. And so, for not to worry about it, but if they felt that I needed it, then they would let me know between the 5 years.
So what advice would you give to someone who is like they find out they have cancer, they have breast cancer, right? And they have to make that decision, right, about what to do. Like they give you options, right?
Right.
What advice would you give someone in just trying to even from that point figure out what to do?
Well, I would advise them to do a little research about the condition and what's happening with them. And then I always tell people you have to pray about it. Since I do love the Lord and I am a disciple of the Most High God, I would let them to make sure they think about it, pray about it, do research, and then pick the option that they feel is best for them. Do you want a mastectomy? Do you want lumpectomy? Or would you want to have double mastectomy. Some people have a double mastectomy.
Mhm.
But I would advise them to make up their own mind and however they feel about themselves. So if you want, I advise, well, with me, I took the lumpectomy because I mean, I took the mastectomy because I didn't want to go through any other changes and all the other problems that would may have occurred and stuff like that. And I didn't want implants. I didn't want anything like that. So what they did was they used the fatty tissue from my abdomen to make the breast.
Mm.
Mm.
And
Oh, I didn't know they could do that. So as a
oh
nurse, was it as a nurse, right?
yeah,
I know you probably were a little more knowledgeable about like the difference between a lumpectomy and a
yeah.
mastectomy. Right? Can you just tell people like briefly like what the difference is?
Well, with the mastectomy, they can use the fatty tissue from your abdomen to reconstruct your breast.
Mhm.
Otherwise, then they would give the implants. I didn't really want the implants. Implants are artificial material that I didn't want to be in my system because and for the long duration time, sometimes they mess up and cause other problems to your body and to your health. And being a nurse, I didn't really want to go through those changes because sometimes they last, sometimes they have a problem with them. They have to take it back out and put you back in the hospital. But using my own tissue from my own abdomen, it was feasible for me, and I felt more healthier about it, and it worked.
Mm.
So,
They,
Miss Flora, a lumpectomy, if I'm correct, is just when they're going in there and removing the tumor.
yeah, a lumpectomy is when they remove the tumor that they found there was benign. That was malignant. They take that out. It could be the size of a quarter, a 50-cent piece, a dime, or whatever. They remove that. And there are times that they may have to give you radiation or chemo in reference for that for a certain amount of time. If they remove it all and take the lymph nodes and then they don't see any other reactions later on after, usually give yourself a month and they check to make sure things are going well and stuff like that. And then you may not have to have chemo or radiation after that. But they still have to monitor you to make sure things are working.
And with the
So,
mastectomy, they cut off the whole breast.
Yes, they remove the breast and then after, oh, maybe after a month or two, you go back to the plastic surgeon and then they talk to you about what you want to have done. Do you want to have the implant or do you want to have the tissue from your body to reconstruct your breast? And then they do tattooing and put your nipple. They do everything that they do to make sure it looks like your other breast.
Mm.
Make sure it's asymmetrical. If one breast is one size, they make sure both breasts are the same size.
Okay. Cool.
now, I know that there are countless stories because I've had friends who have said that they've gone for a mammogram and the results were normal, and then doing a self exam, or not even just doing a self exam, maybe somehow just touching their breast, and they find this lump that seemed to have developed all of a sudden. And I guess in some cases it could be between a short period of time from when you actually had the mammogram to when the lump is found. Um, can you just talk a little bit more about that? How is that? It's just, how is that possible? I'm sure it doesn't just grow overnight.
Well, when it comes to fatty tissue in your breast, sometimes tissues are the tissue. Uh, how they put it? They say fatty tissue that comes in your breast. You may touch your breast, you may feel like a little lump, or you may feel something that's out of the ordinary. It don't develop overnight. It was there all along, but you just didn't feel it. It's according to how you check your breast. You may feel something. It may be moving, or it may be in one spot, and if you touch it, then you may not feel it again. And that's what happens with some of us when we do a self breast exam. We feel something, and then when we go back and do it again, we don't feel it again. That's the purpose of having a mammogram because they are able to at least spot some of the fatty tissue. They may say, oh, it's adipose tissue. We all have disc breast. That's what they tell us all the time. We have disc breast. And you may see a little fatty tissue here. You may something else you may see or stuff like that. So that's the purpose of you doing your own self breast exams. And then when you do discover something, you go back to the doctor. and let them do other tests to find out if they see anything. And then if they do your self-breast exam, then they feel the adipose tissue or they feel the cyst or whatever. Then they'll say, well, let's do a biopsy to find out what it is. Is it malignant? Is it benign? Or is it just extra tissue that you have in your breast?
Hmm. And so I remember when I got my first mammogram, I think I was like 35, right? And now it seems like they keep increasing the age for when you get your first one. Like now I think it's like what, 40 or something like that.
40. Yeah, well, 40. But the thing with the mammograms and other different tests for cancer, if you have a family history of any type of cancer whatsoever, you need to tell your doctor in advance. So that way, even though even though you say at 40 you begin to get to your mammogram, but if you have family history, you can get your first mammogram at 25
Mm,
because you have family history. Same way as colorectal cancer. If you have a family history of any type of cancer, please make sure you let your doctor know when you go to have your physical. All of us should let our doctors know about any type of health issues that we have with our family, so they can make sure they put that history in your chart. So that way you can get different tests done early instead of waiting too late. And then when you're diagnosed with the cancer, it may be stage 4.
mm. And that's so important. I think for anyone that's listening, if you're just joining us, this is the Woman to Woman show. We're having a conversation with Miss Flora, who is a breast cancer survivor, 35 years, and she's just sharing tips and resources. And I mean, two of the important things I've heard her say so far is, one, we all need to do self breast exams and not sporadically. You should be doing
Yeah.
them
Right.
consistently on a regular basis, right? And then
Yes.
the other thing I heard, which a lot of people don't do, is, and I don't know if it's just our history or whatever, but you need to know your family's history, right?
Yes,
You need to
please.
know
Yes. Yes.
if there is a history of cancer in your family, etc. So, and if you have a history of cancer, that means you may be able to get a mammogram prior to 40, which is new age.
Yeah.
You could probably get it young. So,
Yeah.
so those are some really good tips. Shirley, you was going to say something?
Oh, no, you actually took the question that I was going to say. But, I think just one of the things that you did mention is after the diagnosis, some tests that are run. Can you talk about what those tests are?
Well, I mean, after you're diagnosed or after your mammogram, after you had the surgery? Which,
after you've been diagnosed.
well, after you've been diagnosed, they will do a biopsy, which is they sort of use some anesthetic to deaden the area where the lump is, and then they insert a needle in there and evacuate and get some of the tissue, and then they send that to the lab to determine whether it's malignant or benign. And then within, say, less than a week, they'll contact you and let you know that they have the results. Never take results over the telephone, but they are not supposed to do that. They're supposed to bring you to the office and set you down and let you know what the results of the test are.
Mm. And so when you were diagnosed, how important was it to have a support system to kind of get you through that?
Oh, that's very important because you need people to talk with, need people to yell at, need people to listen to you, and just you need people to just be there for you, whether they're talking or whether they're just there to hold your hand, because it's very important. And the American Cancer Society, they also were very informative, very helpful, because they have people at the hospital when you're diagnosed with breast cancer. They're supposed to. I don't know if they still do it now as often as they used to, but they would come to your room and speak with you because you're diagnosed with breast cancer, to talk with you, bring you literature, and talk to you about what to expect and what they can do to assist you, and give you their 1-800 number so they can check on you when you get home, or you can call them and ask them about questions and different things that you want to know. And then a lot of times they'll assign you to a person like I was, assigned to a person that has been diagnosed with breast cancer and have had the same type of surgery that you had. So they would be like your buddy to call and
Mhm.
talk with you and talk you through the different changes that you're going through to see how you're doing, which was very helpful.
And if you don't have someone that comes to your room, like if they don't do that again, do you have? Is there a number that someone can call? Because I know that I used to volunteer with them as well. I know they have a lot of services that they offer. Is there an 800 number that any people
Yes.
can call?
Yeah. The one that has the number is, I have all the papers here by me, it's 1-800 227 2345.
And
So
that's
that's
the American Cancer
that's,
Society.
right. That's the American Cancer Society 1-800 number. Any questions that you really need to ask about any type of cancer, any type of way they can assist you, what they can do to help you, they will give you all the contact information that you need. And then if you are on chemo or radiation, they have a place called Hope Lodge on 32nd Street and 7th Avenue in Manhattan. That if you don't have anybody to help you at home and whatever, people that lives in America or around the world, they can come to with your family. You can come to the Hope Lodge. It's like apartments. They have the apartments there where the people can stay and go through their treatments. And once everything is over, then they can go back home. And you don't have to pay. It's paid. Everything is free.
Wow. Okay. And I don't even think a lot of I do remember that they had those services. I didn't know it was on 32nd Street, which is some
Yes,
good.
yeah, it's 132 West 32nd Street on 7th Avenue. It's it's on the second or third floor. It's very nice. They take you on a tour for you to see the place. People live there until their chemo is finished, and then they can go back home. Whether they live in America, or whether they live in Texas, or wherever they need to go. And some family members, or at least one or two, can come and stay with them while they're there.
Oh wow. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure a lot of people don't know about the various services that are available. So doing this journey, like you how did you get connected with the American Cancer Society? Was it because of your buddy?
Well, they were associated with the hospital. And they said the doctor that I had, they asked me had I heard of the American Cancer Society. That's what I've heard of it, and but that's about it. I really didn't volunteer. I really wasn't doing the cancer walk during that time either before I was diagnosed. So they sent a representative to my room to speak with me, and this is how I got to know the people from Making Strides and from the American Cancer Society. I'm so happy that I did.
Mm. So how can people get involved, and like in what ways can people better support um, American Cancer Society survivors?
Well, if everyone would like to be a volunteer, you can call that 1-800 number, or you can call my representatives that I work with to Making Strides. They'd be more than happy to get you to become a volunteer. They're looking for volunteers. They're looking for people to work with them. And like I said, call the 1-800 number and let them know that you would like to be a volunteer, whatever type of assistance you would like to have, or whatever type of way you would like to work with them. Let them know, and someone else will contact you, call you back.
Tell people a little bit more about what Making Strides is.
Making Strides is the breast cancer walk that's every year in October. So usually the last Sunday in October. The one in the Bronx is the last Sunday in October. It's either at Orchard Beach, but right now it's at Bay Plaza. In the beginning, I was doing the walk at Central Park. I did that for 10 years before I graduated to the Bronx, because the Bronx didn't always have a walk. But when they started one after 10 years, then I started going to the Bronx. But Central Park was always, is another place you can go for the walk also. But in order to, if you would like to be a Making Strides, is to collect, they collect money, they do volunteering work. They help people when they're in distress. They call you to check on you, to make sure things are going well. And we wish to, eradicate breast cancer, all types of cancer. But that's the purpose of Making Strides, is to collect money and to make sure that they do different tests to make sure things are getting better for the people as a
Mm.
whole.
And the
And
beauty of it, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead,
The beauty of it is that if you go to the American Cancer Society website and you enter Making Strides, you can find out where the closest walk is to you.
Yes, yes. Find out where the closest walk and find out all the different things that the American Cancer Society do for you.
And what I recently saw on social media was where they were even allowing people to sign up to walk like X number of miles over a certain period of time, and like on your own, and to be able to do some fundraising and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes, you
so
can do. Yeah, you can do that on your own. Also, usually with us, I try to be. Our group try to be pace setters. Pace setters are a group of walkers who can raise $2,500 and more.
mm,
Then you become pace setters. That means that you've raised the $2,000 for the American Cancer Society, either through your church, either through donations. Sometimes your church will, whatever you make, they will give you the same amount of money, and you
mhm,
just ask people for donations. And sometimes we make T-shirts and sell T-shirts. Sometimes we do that popcorn thing. Different little things that you can do to raise money for the American Cancer Society. And like
mm,
you say, you can do like a 10-mile walk for yourself. Every mile that I take, I'm gonna add $20, and then other people can back you. Say, well, okay, we're gonna put $50 for every time you make a mile or whatever. So that's how you raise your money for the organization. For people, they have to back you.
yeah. And so, for anyone joining us, this is the Woman to Woman show. We are talking about breast cancer, which I would say that there's no one that cancer, any form of cancer, has not touched, right? Like, I think we all have experienced family members or friends that have dealt with either breast cancer, prostate cancer, colon
Yeah.
cancer, right? So cervical cancer. And so one of the most important things is to remember is that the American Cancer Society, which has been around for a very long time, reputable organization, provides so many resources. And one we just found out
Yeah.
about is the Hope Lodge, which is on 32nd Street and 7th Avenue, which provides residential support for individuals who may have to come from out of town
Yeah.
for treatment. So really good resource to know about. And we're talking with Miss Flora, who's a 35-year breast cancer survivor. And I am just so excited for you. Kathleen shared her mother was diagnosed with colon cancer and is a
Mhm.
survivor and cancer free. So
Um,
it is
yeah.
always like beautiful to hear
Mhm.
when there are people who are surviving. And part of that is because if we donate to the American Cancer Society and we continue to donate, they are able to do research that helps to eradicate and make and they can make strides. And people are living longer, right? People are
Oh, yes. Yes, they are.
it's not like it used to be, but we all have to do our part. So um what would you say to someone that is like just really trying to process it? Because I'm sure that there's a component where your mental health and your is just not about your physical body, right?
Mhm.
Like getting that diagnosis. How do you what would you say to someone that is struggling with just dealing with the fact that they've heard that they have cancer?
Well, when you first diagnosed with cancer, of course you're gonna be frightened. You're gonna be upset. You're gonna be mad because most of us always want to know why me. We all say that first, but you have mental challenges, so you have to talk with someone. You may not want to speak with someone other than your doctor, but sometimes you may have to get psychological assistance, people to
Mm,
listen to you, people to talk with you. Because you have to have nutrition. Your nutrition has to be different from what you're used to eating. You have to exercise a little more than you usually do. It's a different. You have to have a healthier lifestyle compared to how it was when you first diagnosed. If you do smoke, you need to stop smoking.
Mm.
If you do drink, you have to do it in moderation. You have to exercise. You have to eat healthy. Yeah, they don't tell you to stop eating. They just tell you to eat in moderation. Cut back on your fried food and whatever. But have someone to talk with. Ask your doctor to, let you speak with a psychologist, and they can talk with you and talk you through the changes that you're going through, and then you have support. Have a friend that you can talk to when you're feeling bad or feeling down and stuff like that. It's always good to have someone to speak to so they can listen to what you have to say. And you don't have to always have a person that do all the talking. Sometimes just as long as you have somebody there sitting with you, maybe holding your hand, or just there to comfort you. You don't need a whole lot of talking all the time. Sometimes you don't need that. Sometimes you need people to just shut up.
Yeah.
Now you
Honestly.
now you mentioned that you were healthy, like you were, you went for regular doctor's visits, you did your self exams, right? How did your like your mindset change after your diagnosis? Like how did your
Mm.
outlook about self care and all of that change? What are some of the changes you made that you're talking about now, like as far as eating differently, etc.?
Well, to be honest with you, when it came to me, I was always a health advocate. I've always ate healthy. I always exercised. I always went to the gym. All these things that I used to do, which I still do now. That's why I was so upset when they told me that I was diagnosed with cancer. I because all the different things that the doctor and the dietitian was talking to me about, I was doing those things. So
Mm,
there are times that you're healthy and you exercise, you walk, you do different things, but things still happen to you. So don't be discouraged because you may be a healthy person and things happen to you, but you have to realize that things happen to all of us, and you just have to bear with it and hope you have somebody there to help you get through the trials and the tribulations that you're going through. So don't stay angry. Just
mm,
just do what you need to do to keep yourself healthy.
mm.
Mm.
Wow.
I want to just take it a little bit back to some of the things that you were saying because we want to make sure that all of our viewers get the full gamut of information and which you are providing us with the wealth of. Um, what is malignant and what is benign?
Malignant is is is, is a cancer that has spread through your body. It's malignant because it's still growing. Benign is it's not it's not it's not cancerous, so you don't have to worry about that part. If they said you the cancer they did a biopsy and it was benign, that means you have no cancerous cells. But if they did it and it's malignant, you do have cancerous cells there, either in your breast or it may be in your lymph nodes. So that's why a lot of times when they do a lumpectomy or a mastectomy, they remove the lymph nodes, especially if they feel like some of the lymph nodes in your arm may become malignant. So they have to remove that and hope that the chemo and the radiation will take care of the rest.
And you just segued into my next question, which was about
Uh,
lymph nodes, right?
oh,
Yeah.
So, what are lymph nodes and how would they be connected to your breast?
well, the lymph nodes are attached to your breast because they're under your arm. So things that are under your arm is attached toward your breast and the rest of your body on that side. Your lungs, your liver, not your liver because the liver is lower down. But under your arms, you have your lymph nodes, and they're attached towards your breast. And as you pick up your arm, when you have problems with your lymph nodes and you have surgery, your arms you can't extend your arms like you would like to because your lymph nodes are gone. That means you have to have therapy in order to reconnect your arms and get them to move the way they should. So that way, when they remove the lymph nodes, they also take them out to make sure, check them to make sure there's no cancer in them. You never know where the cancer is until you take the lymph nodes out. Even if they take them out and they say, well, it was benign. And then you may be angry because they took them out because it was benign. Benign means there's no cancer, but they still have to remove them in order for them to find out whether it is
Mm.
malignant or benign. Yes.
Wow. So the lymph nodes are attached to your breast, but
But
so
well, it's like I would have to. it's easy if I like it's not like how do I put it? They are there. When you raise your arm up, the lymph nodes is right there. For the hair, for your arm is, and it extends around to your breast. It's there.
Oh,
They're
Okay.
right in your arm, but they're attached right there. The lymph nodes
mhm.
are attached to the skin.
Mm. So even if you're benign, there's a possibility that there might be cancer cells in there. So in order to make sure there's not, they will often remove them to
Yeah.
test them.
Yes, they
Okay.
usually remove them just to make sure. And then once they remove them, then they'll test them. Then they'll let you know, well, no, they weren't malignant, but they were benign. But we had to remove them anyway. Because you can't, once you do the diagnosis and you do the surgery, you can't put them back anyway. So once they're gone, they're gone.
Mhm. So can you talk a little bit about the different, like I've heard people say I was stage, like I was stage 0, I was stage 1, I was stage 2, I was stage 3, the different stages.
Well, when we say stage 1, so that means that she was diagnosed and it was early detection. That means that it hasn't metastasized. It's just in one particular area, one spot. That's stage 1. Stage 2, it may have attached to another area of the body. Then again, it may not. So it may not.
Mm,
The cancer may not have spread, even though it's
mm,
stage 2. It still could be stationary. Stage 3, it may be more than one part of your body. It could be, say, if it's in the breast, it may be in it may be in your lungs also, maybe. But when they say stage 4, that means that's malignant and it has metastasized to other parts of your body.
mm.
And that's what metastasize means, that it's spread.
It spreads, yes. Yes, it spreads. Sometimes people have it in the bone, sometimes people have it in the liver, and it spreads to other parts of the body. And you may have the chemo and the radiation and things like that. It may keep it stationary for a while, but it won't. Most people that have stage 4, sometimes they survive and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, I had a friend who had stage 4 and she survived for maybe 2 years
Mm,
in in and out of remission.
yes,
And yeah, and then a lot of clinical trials. She did
yeah,
clinical trials, right?
fine. Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, and unfortunately, she did not make it. But
Sorry to hear that. Yeah, sometimes
yeah,
they don't make it, but a lot of
yeah,
times it's a lot of suffering that goes on if it's stage 4 because they go through a lot of different, like you say, a lot of different treatments, a lot of different chemo, radiation. Maybe in remission for a year, and then it comes back again.
mm. So, what do you think is the most misunderstood aspect about? What do you think most people don't understand about breast cancer?
Well, none of us know how we get the cancer. That's the whole thing. When it comes to cancer, it's the part of the things that happen with your body. You don't know why it's there. We don't know why we get breast cancer. Don't know why we get colorectal cancer. That's why it's always important to do the different tests that they tell you to do just to make sure that you don't have it. So a lot of us get upset because once we are diagnosed with a particular thing, then we want to know, well, how do we get that? But what happened? Why do we have cancer? Why did it happen to my breast? Why did it happen to me? Well, none of us know why. It's just occur. It happens, and we just have to pray that we have someone there that can take care of it, and we can survive it. Because we
Mhm,
don't know why it happens. No one knows why they get colorectal cancer. Cancer. That's why it's so important to do the tests, to do the different tests for colorectal cancer. They give you a stool, and you make sure you do it. A stool for cut blood and different little things. Whatever they tell you that you need to do to make sure you stay healthy, you should go ahead and do the test. It's not going to hurt you to do it. That's why I tell some of the guys at my church when it comes to prostate, I don't have no prostate exam. They just do the blood. They can draw your blood. They don't have to do a rectal exam or anything else when it comes to different tests. They just draw your blood. Blood shows you a lot of everything.
Mm.
mm.
Different things that's happening in your body. Just take a blood test, and they can determine what's going on with your body.
Wow. So that's really key for people to know, because a lot of people, you know, especially men, right, stay away
Yeah.
from that prostate. But the other thing, now that you mentioned men, that I think is important to talk about too, is men can get breast cancer.
Yes, yes, yes. Even for yesterday, it's two guys that's in the group that I'm in. They are breast cancer survivors. So they were diagnosed with, but they had a lumpectomy. The one that was walking with us yesterday, because he's a volunteer like I am. We both work for the same agency, the one in the Bronx. So he was diagnosed with the breast cancer. He had a lumpectomy, and then he had radiation treatment. So he's an advocate. He speaks to the men and in reference to breast cancer, let them know that they should do breast exams too, because you can test your. Even men can check their breast. If you feel a lump or feel something out of place, or if you see a discharge from your breast that you don't usually see unless you're a mother with a baby, and then you're feeding the baby through your breast. But if you have discharge from your breast or whatever, you need to see your doctor to let them know what's happening with you, because don't just overlook stuff because you feel that, oh, it's just, oh, it's nothing. That's the problem that we have with most men and women, that we don't want to go to the doctor when something is wrong. You know, I give myself 24 hours. If something is wrong with me, if I don't feel better after 24 hours, or if I've taken this medicine or some cough syrup or did this or did that, and after 24 hours, if I don't feel better, I call, make me an appointment and go to the doctor. We have people that wait weeks before they go to the doctor, and then they're so sick they have to be placed in ICU. So you shouldn't do things like that to your health.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for saying that, because my friends used to talk about me, because I'm like you, 24 hours and I'm going to the doctor. Like, I'm making up. My girlfriend used to be like, "You at the doctor again?" "Yeah, I'm here." Right. So you just made me feel a lot better, because I was like, if I have a contract, but no. But the other question I wanted to ask you, and maybe you know this being a nurse, right? For individuals who may not have like insurance, right? Is there some place that they can go to get like free mammograms or other cancer exams?
Well, when it comes to the mammograms, like St. Barnabas Hospital and different agencies have mammogram vans. And we usually have the mammogram van come to our church. You can get free mammograms, mammograms and different little things like that. And they can also, American Cancer Society can also help you get insurance. And there are a lot of different tests that you have to have sometimes. Yeah, if Department of Health have clinics that you can go to that you don't have to pay out of pocket if you have different things that's wrong with you and stuff like that. And like I said, the 1-800 number for the American Cancer Society, they may be able to help you get different tests that you need. And then, like I said, they have different companies that does. The Italians have like mammogram van also. So if people are interested in getting free mammograms, I can always give them the information through these particular agencies. And if you want mammograms to be done at your church or at a facility that you work with, you just have to make an appointment, and then they want you to at least have 20 people to sign up for the mammograms. They may ask you about insurance, but they don't charge you to have the mammogram.
Okay.
You also can go to cancer.org if you want to send an email or anything like that to American Cancer Society. You go to cancer.org, and then you can send them a note, ask them about different little things, and they'll send you information and literature back also.
Okay. Good information. Good information. So, what would you say to someone that is like newly diagnosed?
Well, breast cancer or any type of cancer, don't give up. It's not the end of the world because you're diagnosed with cancer. There are things out there they could do to help you, to make you stronger, to make you better, and you can be placed in remission. Never give up. It's not the end of the world because you're diagnosed with cancer. You may feel that you are, because in the beginning when they say cancer, everybody think about doom. Oh my God, I'm gonna die. But it's not always those cases. You just have to listen to what the doctors and oncologists talk to you and let you know what's happening with your body, and do the different little things that they ask you to do that will make you better. and then do some reading. You can do research on your own, but don't take all the stuff that you read. Don't believe everything you read. Talk with someone else that you know that's a medical person to make sure you understand exactly what you're reading.
Mm, good advice. So, Sheila, we are at the top of the hour. So, as usual, the time has flown by. For those of you who have joined us, this is the Woman to Woman show on the New You Nation Network. We thank you for joining us for this important topic. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the 31st. This is what. So we usually give our final thoughts. So I'm gonna give my final thought right now. All right. Breast Cancer Awareness Month is the month of October, right? But just because the 31st hits, it's not over. It doesn't end. Breast cancer awareness is every day of the year, 365 days of the year. We need to be vigilant about sharing, getting our mammograms, blood tests, going to the doctor. I will honestly say when I went this year in January for my mammogram for 2025 was already scheduled, right? Okay. So, get in the habit of making sure you are scheduling these exams annually. And like Ms. Flores said, if you feel something that does not feel right when you are doing your self exams twice a month, right? Make sure you also reach out to your doctor. But the most important thing is we definitely all together can do our part to eradicate this disease. And sharing information, sharing resources is great, but also donating to the American Cancer Society or any other organization that is legitimate and trying to fight cancer through research, etc. They need your help.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And my final thoughts are mammograms are important. Make sure that you are getting your annual mammograms. And even if you're not as proactive as Theo is by scheduling a year in advance, the facilities will normally call you or send you an email or a text to remind you that you are due for the mammogram. So you can't escape it. It's very, very vital. Don't, talk to your doctor about it. But make sure that you are getting a mammogram. And I love how Ms. Flora gave us some tidbits on when to do self-exams. Again, the self-exams are extremely important. So make sure that you are getting that done as well. And take advantage of the resources out there. There are plenty of sources available, whether you get them online or just from talking to someone. There's information out there so that you will never have to have any questions unanswered. And should you find yourself in this situation where you have breast cancer or any form of cancer, just know that you don't have to go through it alone.
Yeah. Well, ditto for everything that you both have just said, and I agree and concur. Early detection is most important. Resources are most important. That 1-800 number for the American Cancer Society or cancer.org. Call, and they will make sure that you get information that you need to help you in any way that you need to be helped. And remember to make sure you get your physicals. Make sure you make an appointment. Make sure that you have a few questions already before you go to your doctor. A lot of times when you go to your doctor, they do all the talking. I tell all our folks at the church, before you go to the doctor, have a list of the different things you want to talk to your doctor about. After he finished talking, then you let him know, now I have to talk to you about what I want you to know about. So, and if your doctor don't know your name when you come in the office, you need a new doctor. That's because if you go into the doctor and he just said hello, he's supposed to say, hello, Miss Golston, how are you today? the doctor don't say your name, then you have to wonder, what kind of doctor do you have that he don't say your name? So just remember that you are a human being and you're a person. That people should relate that to you. Know who you are and speak your name. Don't say Flora. I'm Miss Ghostin. That's what I say. Take care of yourself. God bless you.
I love it because I will tell you, I love the fact that when I go to my doctor's office, they remember stuff about me. Hey, are you still riding that Peloton? Or how your dad doing? Or how's your mom?
That's
Like,
there.
so it really does make a
Make you
difference.
feel good. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So before we end, I'm just going to reiterate, do your breast self-exams, know your family history.
Yes. Yes.
You definitely need to know your family history.
And share your history with your relatives, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Cancer.org, the American Cancer Society. I put the number in the chat.
Thank you.
Hope Lodge is on 32nd Street, 132 West 32nd Street. And the other thing, for the wives that might be listening, right? Just in case your husband is not listening,
Yes.
remind your husband to do their breast exams as
Yes.
well.
That's
All
right.
Right. And so, Ms. Fleur, we thank you so much.
Yes.
So grateful that you are here and that you have survived this disease for 35
Thank you.
years and will continue to. And we are going to say goodnight and we're going to sign off as we normally do. And we usually say truth plus transparency
equals
Transparency.
healing.
Hearing.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
night, everyone.
All
God
right.
bless.
Thank you. Thank you, and God
Good
bless
night.
you both.
Thank you
All
so
of
very
you,
much,
rather.
All right.
We
Thank you
enjoyed
so much.
talking to you.
Likewise.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me. All right.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.